prensa de armadores de la 33 America's Cup aquí en Valencia. Good afternoon to you all. Welcome to the owners' press conference of the 33rd America's Cup here in Valencia. I'd like to welcome you all. Here with us, it's Ernesto Bertarelli, owner of ellison.
Thank you very much indeed, Paco. Welcome, Ernesto. Now, you see there, it says the owners' press conference. Both owners were invited, and wouldn't it have been a historic moment to see both owners here? But it's a real pleasure to see you here, Ernesto, back in Valencia, a place that holds some very proud memories for you.
Yes, good afternoon. There we go, sorry. Good afternoon. Apologize for Larry not being here, it's a shame. Would have been nice to see him again since last time I saw him in California. But rightly so, it's back in Valencia. The weather, as you can see, is quite different than when we left it in May, actually July of 2007, but I think the excitement is the same. I can see that the media is present. Thank you very much for being here. I think we've had almost 600 accreditation, which is just as much as last time. So there is a certain interest in this historic race, and we are all at the ellison team looking forward to the regatta and hoping to put forward our best, so you can have as much fun as you had 2.5 years ago.
Now, Ernesto, last time you had to sit and wait and watch whilst teams battled it out for the right to fight against you. This time, you're straight into action. So for you, you're on the boat, you're steering the boat. In your stomach now, the butterflies, are you feeling nervous?
Well, every time you go to battle, you have to feel nervous. Anytime I've gone casual to anything I've ever done, I wasn't my best. So I think adrenaline and you know, a bit of excitement is good for anything you do, and especially for a race and competition like this. It's a shame that we haven't had the other teams. We could have had the other teams. There's a lot of good teams out there that would have been able to compete for the right to face ellison. But BMW Oracle is a formidable team. They've brought an impressive yacht with impressive technology, and it's going to be very interesting to see these two very different yachts trying to achieve the same thing go at each other. And I'm looking forward to that.
Reading press reports and listening to some of the quotes coming from both teams, you would perhaps think if the wind was light, you will defend the cup. If the wind is heavy, BMW Oracle Racing will take the cup. That's very simple, but is that how you see it?
Well, I think there is a factor in this race, which possibly more, even though we had some limits in the previous campaigns. There's a factor which is safety that has to be kept in mind. Some of you remember that ellison unfortunately started its multi-hull campaign for the 33rd America's Cup with a 60-footer capsizing and one of our team member being in a coma for a few hours. So we always have to remember that multi-hulls are very different than monohull. They do capsize. They go belly up, and if they do go belly up, if ever somebody's underneath the boat, especially our boat, the net will keep whoever is under about 3 meters underwater. And you know, I've never heard many people, at least those who are on board, call for conditions that would be unsafe. Maybe people not on board these yachts or sailing these yachts might wish for a bit more excitement, but honestly, I don't wish that for anyone. I just want to have a safe race and fun race, and I think with good conditions, it's going to be plenty on. Believe me.
Both boats have obviously pushed technology to the limits. Have they pushed it too much to the limits? I mean, can you see both boats finishing each race?
Well, that's going to be a big factor. I think in order to win, you've got to finish. And both teams, over the last few weeks, we've been able to kind of gauge our reliability, and we've had problems. And it's a bit like the beginning of the season in the Formula One Grand Prix, you know. All's very good when the teams are testing here in Valencia, you know, you go around once or twice around the track and you put a good time, but then on the Sunday of the first race you got to go around the track 72 times. And it's a bit the same thing. We've completed the course a few times, and it's a long course. It's 40 miles. We've done it in between 2 to 3.5 hours, and so it's a lot of ground to cover. I mean, if the wind comes from the shore, which is what's the prediction is looking like, I mean the start's going to be almost halfway between here and Ibiza. So we're talking about being far off the coast, and I think everyone should be careful, especially a spectator, if they wish to follow the regatta from underwater. I like to remember everyone that we're not in the summer, we're in the winter, and the weather does change very quickly.
You talk about both boats making it to the finish, but can we just have confirmation that the start will happen? Is there anything that, of course there could be big winds, there could be a gale force, but that's not forecast. Will the 33rd America's Cup start when scheduled? Is there anything that can stop it?
You know, we are unfortunately in a sailing event, and that's always been the problem with television. Everybody will wish that at 2 p.m. We would guarantee a race, and you know we cannot do that. No one can do that. But the conditions look good for Monday, so I think there's a good chance we're going to have a race.
But there's nothing else, so the conditions look good. There's nothing else that can surprise us. A court case, a legal issue. The America's Cup will start. Please tell us that.
Well, I'm surprised that Larry is not here today, so anything is possible between now and Monday.
Now, to the outside world, it is an absolute sporting spectacular. Perhaps it's more like a Hollywood movie. 2 billionaires, you've got USA against Europe, two of the most extraordinary boats ever built, in a race the like of which we've never seen. It would make an amazing film, but that's from the outside. What's it like on the inside?
Well, on the inside of Team Alinghi, it's always been the same thing. It's been 10 years, we're basically the same team, and it's always been about Alinghi. You know, back in Auckland, BMW Oracle was one of the teams, and so in Valencia, BMW Oracle was one of the team, and then it was a lot less about me and Larry, a lot less about whatever Hollywood might think is exciting. So let's remember, this is a yacht race. This is about technology more than before. And personally, I think I've always been proud of everyone, but those who have particularly carried this campaign are those who have received the plans for the boat and actually build it. Building a boat like that is a lot more than dreaming about it, and it's a lot more than designing it. You got to put it together, and then one day you got to tell your friends, go and try it, and you know, and you hope that what you've done is safe and it's not going to break. And we've been very lucky because Alinghi was born very well on the lake, and we've pushed the boat a lot more since, and so far it's in one piece, so they've done a good job.
Are you expecting, whatever happens, or could it be a close race? Or are we going to see that gun go, and the ladies and gentlemen here who are writing their reports and the television pictures are going to say, 3 minutes in, we know.
You know, it's a race, you know, when you go racing, there's two possible outcomes. You either win or lose, and you've got to be prepared for both. And if the outcome is certain, then it's no longer racing, and then it's no longer fun. Last time, against Team New Zealand, there was a lot of speculation about the speed of either boats, and possibly, as defender, we were pumped up a little too much, and we realized that we had a tough cookie to chew. And there was